Hello traders and welcome to the first weekly outlook and setups for the year. That is volume 131. First of all, I wish you a happy new year. I wish for this year to be full of opportunities, full with great achievements, with magical and unforgettable moments, and most importantly with crushed goals for all of you. I really hope you have prepared yourself. You actually managed to have a very nice resting period to recharge your batteries, to plan for the next year, to set up specific goals and actions in order to achieve them. And right now, actually, nothing can stop you, right? We have 54 weeks ahead of us, so make sure that you really put in the work, because this is how it happens: with intentional work, with focus on yourselves, with clearly defined goals that are realistic and actionable, and nothing can stop you, I promise. So as I said, we have 54 weeks ahead of us, and this is 54 volumes of this weekly outlook and setup. So you're going to be receiving tons of value. And also I'm going to be more active on posting educational content, analysis pieces as well. And so definitely guys, I'm really excited for this one. Again, I hope you managed to have an amazing holiday period. Personally, I had an amazing one. I had a great time with family for Christmas. Then I traveled a little bit, spent some nice break from the market as well. And just this week, actually, I arrived at my home, my workstation, and I started trading from Wednesday. So slowly getting into the zone, slowly getting into the grip of it, already having the first trades for the year. So quite excited to see how it's gonna develop. We also had NFP this week, so this is out of the agenda right now, so we can start crushing it together, right? So I hope you are excited about this. So in this video, we're also going to be doing a monthly analysis because it's the first one for the month. And do you know what that means? Well, I'm going to pick a winner that is going to receive access to everything that I offer. All right, so this is a person that has been here for a super long time, hasn't missed to comment on a single video and to express his thoughts. And this is my friend, the White Wolf, with a picture of a white wolf, Mr. Parsa, or W Parsa is his handle. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but congratulations, brother. Thank you so much for the support that you have been giving me throughout this entire time. I really appreciate you, and this is my way of giving back to you. So I'm going to be waiting for your response, either via email or Instagram, wherever you can find me. And I'm looking forward for you to get inside our community and the course program that is currently being revamped as well. I'm currently focused on this to really revamp it because I have so much great content that is incoming for the program, a great revamp as well. So this is the focus, and then after this I'm going to start posting more educational pieces of content as well. All right, so if you are new, of course, to this channel, it's all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I give my best to share an educational piece of content or a trading setups breakdown video. So make sure you are subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss all the future incoming value. And before we start, I want to let you know of an amazing broker, that is cedarforex.com. Make sure to check it out. They have amazing spreads and a great commission account. But if you, pretty much if you pick their commission account, which is called the Eco account, for every single lot that you trade, the commission goes towards planting 10 trees. So I really think that is an amazing initiative. I support them. They have Forex, they have cryptos, they have stocks, so their instrument list is very good. So make sure to check them out. Link will be down in the description. And if you already did, oh man, I'm excited. Let's get into the market. Alright, as always, we are starting with a DXY, the US dollar currency index. Again, if you don't know what that is, it is pretty much an index that is a basket of currencies. You can check the specific percentage of the currencies. I'm actually putting in right here so that you know, but pretty much it is 50 or something percent euro. So pretty much we're always going to see the DXY oppositely correlated to the euro. It has some JPY inside it, some GBP, and it does not contain Aussie and NZD. So this is very important to note. So pretty much this gives us an overall impression of what the dollar is doing. Okay, we're going to be starting from the monthly time frame, just building up a little bit of a picture. So we had this high and this low, that is this overall swing. The market pulled back. It looks like a lower high, this one, because it's lower than the previous one. But again, on the way down, we failed to make a new lower low. of this structure right there, and we pretty much started right now creating this triangular formation, okay? And we're pretty much in this big consolidation right now, but this is the monthly, okay? So what I always advise all of you guys to do is focus on the now, all right? Although it is very important to see what is happening right here, well, pretty much we can zoom in a little bit. Let's examine this sort of price action right here. So it's very clear that the market is coming from this little demand level right here. So we tapped inside, we reacted very nicely. This was a lower high at a point. Then we pushed into the downside in an attempt to make a new lower low and even to go for this one, which is that big monthly one. But guess what we did? Well, we made a shift. So this is a failure to make a new lower low, which signifies that buyers are entering into the market. And since then, since June, we introduced this bullish leg to the upside. Okay, it's not very strong. Like this is a bullish engulf. Then we have this wick, another pin bar, bullish, pin bar, bullish. So yeah, it's pretty nice, but it's not like a very nice sell-off like this. But in this case, a buy. Okay, so currently the most recent price action is bullish. Okay, this is all I can say, and we're currently coming to retest some of those levels right there on the monthly and on the weekly, which we're going to examine on the weekly. But from the monthly time frame, we can see that we had a massive bullish engulfing candle during November, and then what December did? Pretty much nothing. We went into the highs, then we rejected very strongly. We actually closed as bearish, and as you can see, the first week of January, we opened. We pushed into the highs to potentially retest the wick, because what I always tell you about wicks, they tend to be retested because there is always something within wicks. And if you just drop like 50% of this wick, you can see that we perfectly came inside 50% of the wick and we're already reacting very strongly to the downside. So this kind of gives me a little bit of a clue that potentially the Dixie right now is gonna print a bearish candle for the month, okay? So that is some very important piece of information, and potentially I see all of this empty space right there. I would expect a retest of this wick right there that is structured on a lower time frame. Okay, so from the monthly, there is our analysis. I am starting with a little bit of a bearish bias right now on the Dixie. So as you can see on the week, this is pretty much where we initiated this leg up. Okay, ignore what happened right here. What is the most recent leg? It starts from here and it ends there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop our weekly range like this with a fib that only has the 50%. And what I see is that exactly on the 50%, we also have a little level right there, which we're gonna possibly see on the daily. But I would love to see it come inside this overall range and to retest that wick on the monthly. Okay, so this is a retest area. Make sure to mark it up like this. Yeah, whatever, retest area, and this is potentially an area that we're gonna find on the daily. So right now you can see again for the whole, so since November we created this huge wick right there, then the next week took out the low, and then since like November we have been staying below this wick and pretty much consolidating. Okay, we had a bullish candle, then we had a bearish candle, which was an inside bar. We took out the lows, then this week opened, we pushed into the highs, we took out the liquidity above this high right here, and right now we are on the way down. So this again suggests bearishness. Okay, and to be honest, this whole week when I was doing the daily analysis for my team, I do morning analysis every single day. I show all the opportunities available to my team as well. We had a look at this candle right here, and pretty much you can see that this was the daily higher low. We tapped inside, reacted, tapped inside again, reacted, tapped inside, reacted, and it looked like we actually were about to change the structure. But again, right now this looks like a fake and we are about to rush into the lows. So if at any point the market actually breaks below this level, I am confirming that the market is bearish. And then the biggest question is how far of a downside we're gonna have. Okay, so there is the first level, is just this indecision candle. The second level is down there. I'm gonna take this whole range like this. This is a very nice area. I'm actually gonna take it with a rectangle like this. So we have potentially two retest areas. This is the first one and this is the second one. Okay, so currently as we start dropping right now, you're already gonna see the shift. The market is failing to make a new higher high. It's kind of trying to push up, but it's constantly being absorbed to the downside. So definitely I'm starting to look a little bit more bearish, right? And to be honest, I was very bullish on the Dixie. I thought we were gonna actually start striking from the highs right there, because what we had is the market punching into this demand, then shifting the structure, breaking the structure right here, right? Then what we did is we came inside this level, we very nicely reacted, but this high should have been taken after this reaction right here, but we did not. We created a lower high, we created a shift formation right there, and right now we are strongly impulsing to the downside. Okay, so while we still remain inside this big demand right here, we can clearly see that the DXY is just failing to push higher. It tried numerous times. First it was from here, there, there. It just fails. So what we can presume is that the sellers are overall in control. Okay, how can we trade this one? Well, as we have a break of this most recent structure, I really want to see actually a break of the major one. Well, yeah, pretty much this is the structure that made the high, and it's already broken. So we can confirm that there is a potential reversal, and then we have to find a potential level to sell it from, which for me, the one that makes sense is this one. You can of course take it bigger like that. You can of course go to the 8 hourly to see if there is something clearer, maybe this indecision candle. But yeah, overall, this is going to be the zone that I'm gonna be looking to strike from. Also, you can see this buy and then a big sell-off on the hour. So yes, guys, again, building up all of this, we can see that the market is still kind of bullish on the daily, but we see the failure to break above. We can see beautiful retest areas. The first is exactly on the 50% of the weekly leg, and then the second one is a very strong demand on the monthly as well. So what we can also expect is maybe if the market reverses, it can tap right there, it can give us a pullback, and then it can tap right here, and then from there we can possibly have a new higher high. Of course, the Fed recently announced that they're gonna stop printing money. Okay, so this is slightly bullish for the DXY. Okay, and we saw the stocks drop, we saw crypto drop as well. So this is bullish news for the dollar. Well, it keeps dropping, so maybe we're gonna have a little pullback. And then if those interest rates are actually gonna increase, or if the money is gonna stop being printed, then we can also expect some bullishness on the dollar. Okay, but currently, guys, I'm going to end up this analysis with a bearish outlook for now. What I'm going to be looking for is for a retest at the beginning of the week, a lower high, and then a potential continuation down. Okay, and as long as we stay below this level, I'm going to maintain a bullish bias. A bearish. But if we cross above it, then potentially we can also expect the bulls, because again, keep in mind on the daily, we have never broken the higher low. That is this one. This is the major higher low. Why? Because this is the structure where it is. This is the structure that pushed and made a higher high, and pretty much this is our range. This is it, okay? And everything in between is nonsense, all right? But if we cross below it, then we can start looking for shorts as well. So let's see if shorts are going to be in play this week. Euro USD alongside with the DXY, very tricky price action for December. So pretty much we are ending up after this huge flush to the downside, and then again December, nothing too much, just a very little inside bar. And again this week we started with a push to the downside, and right now we are recovering, and we close as this very little kind of pin bar or doji or indecision, and it's also an inside bar. So we have this mother candle right there. This is an inside bar, and this is an inside bar within the inside bar. Man, what an inception that is. Okay, so we can expect potentially, as I always tell you, a break of either this or of the high or the low, and it makes more sense to potentially break out the high and give this little pullback. So again, tricky price right there, similar to the DXY. So we came inside this level, we reacted, we created a higher low, then the market tries to push up but fails to make a new higher high and pretty much reacts from this one. So what are we doing right now? We're compressing, okay? And currently the most recent price is pushing to the downside, but it's also coming to retest this sort of monthly demand that still hasn't been tapped, but we're kind of almost reacting from it, okay? So the biggest question right now is, as we have this push to the downside, are we gonna have a pullback up and then a potential continuation down? Or are we first gonna tap into this one and then potentially start moving higher? Okay, very tricky to determine on the monthly, because again, we're overall stuck in this range, and pretty much the most recent momentum is to the downside. So until we see a clear shift up, I am going to remain overall bearish, all right? So again, as I told you for quite some weeks ago, we have this overall range right there, but the market just stepped inside and we did not have any reaction at all. All right, we just massively flushed into it, and we spent since 22nd of November up until now, we're just ranging. If the market was gonna push up, it should have pushed up by now. But again, it's never too late. It's never too late, but I really think that we're actually gonna punch into the downside and come inside to retest some of those levels down there, okay? and potentially come and retest this wick. So I still think that euro has some downside, but the biggest question is, are we first gonna pull back? What I see right there on the weekly is that we have this beautiful supply that hasn't been retested as well. So again, what we can do is we again have this sort of weekly range. There it is. We can first of all pull back, which is pretty similar to the Dixie. We can first pull back and then we can run into the lows. Okay, so this is what we could expect. Shorter term bullishness and then long term bearishness. Again, but we never know because we're just opening the year. Of course, there are a lot of fundamentals that are about to be released as well, and with interest rates as well, with the Fed, it's quite uncertain. Okay, but then making our way onto the daily, man, EU, you are a complete mess right now. You can see that pretty much choppiness right here on the daily, but I promise you guys, you're always gonna get opportunities. If you're dropping to the 4H, the 15-minute, there is always, because price is being moved every single day. So if you know what you're doing, there are opportunities every single day. Okay, but then again, we can see that the market has been failing to make a new lower low in this case. The Dixie failed to make a new higher high. This one is failing to make a new lower low, and we can see actually that it keeps faking the lows right there. So this one was taken out, this one was taken out. We keep taking the lows, but it just does not continue down. Okay, and then we pretty much had a takeout of this high right there, which was a weekly high from a monthly high even from November. We had a massive sell-off, and at that point I thought, yes, euro is going short. So I was really short biased throughout this week, but with NFP, the NFP stats were pretty weak, and we saw a massive flush on Dixie and a massive impulse on the euro. And then again, guys, what could happen? I just tell you right now, Dixie is completely bearish or something, or bullish. The other week can open and it can turn into exactly the opposite way. So don't marry a bias. But what I would love to see on EU is a potential pullback into these areas for potential retest and then a longer term sell. Okay, but is it ready? Nope. Nope. Because if we drop to the 4H, what is happening? It's a complete mess. Okay, but let's try to read the mess. Let's try to zoom in. So we had this massive impulse into the highs. I do believe this one was FOMC or something. So what did I tell you about wicks, guys? They tend to retest. There it is, 50% retest. The market failed to make a new low, impulse into the highs. It also failed to make a new high, but eventually we broke this high. Okay, and then what happens is we have some sort of a bullish flow right there. So there is it starting from here, top inside, beautiful long opportunity. Then it's returned back. I was just journaling those trades the other day. Top inside, beautiful higher high. Then it's returned back. And you can see it kind of faked this level, but it failed to fake that level right there. So still you can see that demand is overall in control. Okay. And although we saw that, let me just keep this one just in case like this. And although I was reading the market in a different way. So what I said is that the push that made the high, the structure that made the high was this one, and this one just got crushed. Okay, so what I did immediately is I turned into a sell bias, and I was looking for shorts. Unfortunately, I did not take any shorts from there, and I tried to short the market from here, and I had a losing trade on a short, and my winning trade was actually on a long, which suggests again that we might actually turn a little bit bullish. And then on that day, I was also looking for longs, but then a member of my community pointed out this level, right? And as you can see, the market tapped inside it, had a beautiful reaction. At first, it failed to break higher. It returned, but then what it did, it also kind of created this shift right there. And what we have during NFP is a nice pump into the highs that again is tapping into the supply, but we can see that there is not a response whatsoever. Okay. So this one again suggests that EU is overall bullish than bearish, but again, we never know. It can just decide to retest the high of the range because again, guys, what are we doing right now? We are in a beautiful range, right? There is the range. And the market tends to retest the lows and retest the highs and just keep inside the range. So what could happen as well is we can just retest the high and then return into the low. Okay, but just building all of this story, I can say that EU looks a bit more bullish than bearish. And what we have during NFP is this bearish candle right there that created a brand new higher low demand. Why? Because we also broke the structure and we had a beautiful leg outside of this. Okay, and we also come from those kind of retests right there and an overall failure to make a new lower low. Okay. So pretty much what I'm gonna say, which is similar to the Dixie, a retest into the highs and the flush and the retest into the lows and a pump. And potentially the target will be this zone, which again, if you remember, is the weekly inside bar. This one that, was it a weekly or a daily? It's a monthly, is it? Yes, right? So definitely this is a target, this is a liquidity target that we can expect to be taken. So let's see guys, if we're gonna have a retest down and then a potential pump into the highs. Keep in mind, this is the first week of the year. The market is just starting to warm up. We're still in a consolidation, but the overall bias is this, looking for longs, okay? And if I show you some of my trades, I really don't want to spend much time into it, but I took 2 trades this week. One of them was on Thursday and the other one was on Friday. Rather unlucky one. I'm not gonna go into great details, all right, because I want to be making separate videos on those. But pretty much, again, as I told you, I was considering the market to be bearish at that point, still warming up myself. I failed to acknowledge this demand that I showed you, okay? And I tried to take a short from here at first, but I missed. It didn't provide an entry. Then I failed to execute on a long as a hedge. So then I trusted my short setup and I took a short from here, okay? I lost it. And then we have this beautiful introduction of buyers that also broke structure into the highs. I had a retest of an area. I have a very specific way of determining my areas that I teach in the private program as well. So this trade was taken with the community as well. And I took a 1 to 4 right there. Then the rest got stopped at break even, and then pretty much the target got reached, okay? And if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do so because I dropped some trading setups breakdown there as well. So there's my first trade. After the market failed to provide me an entry right there, there was an entry on the seconds or an aggressive entry from this area that I have identified. It pushed into the downside. There was a little long to be taken right there, but I didn't. So then I stuck to my shorts. We had a shift of structure right there. We had a retest. I entered from here. It gave me a beautiful reaction, but then it failed to follow through and it hit stop loss. So this right there created a new level for an entry. If you just adapt to the market, it came inside, but I did not take it from here as it looked like rather aggressive. But then we saw this beautiful shift. So as the market returned back to retest, I took my trade from here and I took my partials right there at this level right here. Or was it a little bit lower? I'm not sure, but I took a 1 to 4 on this trade. Yeah, should have been somewhere right here. And this was 80%. Okay, so this loss was recovered a little bit on top as well. And then the risk hit break even. I went outside to jog. Then I returned as the market was flushing down. And then I decided not to actually engage in another one. But there is a little re-entry and there is TP. Okay. So this is actually the first trading day for me. On Tuesday, we had the community crushing some longs on the way up right here. And also on, which was the day? Wednesday or Tuesday was also a massive day. This massive move into the highs was actually caught. It was beautiful trade. There it is. This is the first one. This is the second one. Multiple of re-entries to catch this big long to the upside. But unfortunately, I missed this one. I wasn't trading at that time. And then another kind of unlucky trade on Friday, NFP. So again, I was still considering the market to be bearish, all right? I thought we were coming from this the supply right there. We pushed into the lows. We still respected this one. We pushed into the lows, but I failed to acknowledge at that time that the break was not evident right there. We did not have a break. So we came inside, we retested the level that I have determined for myself. I dropped to my lower time frame and I waited for my entry pattern. So there it is. We're having a bullish market. Then the market starts showing failures of the higher lows. First failure, second failure, and then I entered from here. Stop loss was above. It took me out, the bastard. And yeah, it took me out. Then it tried to push down. Then it tried to push up again. Then it shifted the structure. Then I was looking for a re-entry, but it never came. And guess what? It hit TP. But it is what it is. And this was a loss. So I finished an overall break even, a little bit loss for the first week, which is fine because again, I took a full loss on this one right there on the first short. Then the long, of course, it was 80%. So it was very nice profits, but then I risked right here full as well. So yeah, ending up at break even. Okay. So those are my trades and I promise to be more active in sharing trade setups, breakdown videos as we are going. So let's carry on. Let's have a look at Euro Yen. So on the monthly time frame, rather tricky, but an overall bullish market we can see. So again, if we just build up a little story right there, we had this massive push into the highs, which is very momentous and very strong. And then we had this very, very nice and weak correction, okay? We came inside this wick, and what do I tell you about wicks? They tend to be retested. Then we shifted the structure, higher high, higher low, higher high, currently creation of a higher low, so can we expect a new higher high? Simple, guys. All you need is market structure. So, but then the next question is, was this pullback enough? Was it ready? Well, first of all, it tapped 50%, which on the majority of the pairs is enough, okay? December was actually pretty bullish, right? So what I really like is that, first of all, we took out the low by very little, and then we started massively pumping into the highs, okay? And right now this month is opening also pretty bullish, so it suggests that more bullish than bearish, okay? So let's examine the weekly. So we had this kind of fake move into the highs, then we actually dropped to the downside, and again I think this is potentially stopping out the people that were already long from here to dive a little bit deeper. And right now we're again launching into the highs, but again, what does this look like? Still is a push and a pullback to continue lower, okay? So that pair is a little 50-50, okay? So let's try to examine what is actually happening right now, okay? So the weekly is pretty bullish, and yes, I do not enjoy pairs that move like this, right? I like to see this kind of momentum, okay? Because right now what we have is a push, slow, push, slow, push, slow, bam, 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 bam. It's not nice, okay? But it's overall bullish. So where we can expect potential hindrances or supply levels is this sort of big range. So let's take it like this. This is a whole range right there, and we're just tapping inside it, but we definitely still have some more space into it, okay? And currently it's pretty bullish. I have nothing to say. It's just pushing into the highs in a kind of corrective manner. It is just about to tap into this zone, so we can expect some sort of a reaction to the downside. For how long, I don't know, because it's also very hard to determine a specific higher low right there on the daily. So let's try to utilize the 4H and see what is happening on the most recent price. So we're tapping inside this level, but just again seeing where the sell was actually initiated from, I would love to see it come a little bit deeper. So into this level. So this is where I would like to see it come. But again, if we zoom in, tricky pair. So pretty much creating of a higher high, higher lows. Then right here we had a little bit of a fake, right? So you can think that this is a break, but it's definitely a fake. And again, if you consider this to be your major higher low, then you think that this is broken, then you start jumping into shorts and you just get killed, okay? So that is sometimes what GU also does a lot. But yeah, then we push into the highs, pull back again, push into the highs. So this one right now can become our major higher low, but then it got broken. So right now you can actually be looking for sells, okay? But again, the thing is, this could be the overall leg on the daily as well, and this can just be like a minor structure. I'm gonna be making a video on this one. I'm currently actually working on a revamp of my course, which is mainly going to focus on this theory. But yeah, so pretty much EJ right now is unclear to me. It is approaching very strong area of supply. I do think it's not ready for a sell yet, because yes, you can say that there is a new level. Why? Because it broke structure, okay? But what I would like to see is a break of this one as a confirmation, okay? So if we have this, only then I'm gonna start looking for shorts, okay? Because so far we're bullish. Also EU suggests that it's gonna go bullish, so I definitely expect some more upside on EJ, okay? But if you're trading EJ, I would suggest that you give it a little bit more time to develop, because it's not entirely clear yet, okay? It's very nice bullish. If you didn't catch the bottom and if you didn't enter on the continuations right there, you're a little bit too late, because we're already extended, we're already tapping into supply, and we shall see what is actually gonna happen right now. But if you're looking for shorts, I would suggest you wait for this scenario, okay? So let's see how it's gonna play out. And even if you drop to the hour, you're gonna see it's pretty bullish, because what I can see right here is that we broke some sort of structure. If you drop to the hour, you can see that it was a range. We massively initiated outside of this range. So what we can do is you can take a short from here, but the market can pull back and launch into the highs as well. Okay, so be aware of those two scenarios and make sure to wait a little bit. Again, as I keep saying, it's early, so give it some time. Make sure that you really know what the direction is and then strike. All right, let's have a look at the Aussies, starting from AU. So pretty much on this one, it's again slightly hard to determine the overall kind of very specific direction. But again, over the shorter term, we are more bullish than bearish, because again, we We made this massive wick right there, then we shifted structure. This one is a higher high, higher low, higher high. But this higher high went into a very strong supply area that is with this overall bearish trend if you zoom out a little bit, okay? So this makes it slightly tricky because this one can be just a retest again. So we have a push, pullback, push, pullback, and we can have a push, okay? But again, as I tell you, on the shorter term, we are more bullish and we are yet about to see if the market is actually going to go bullish from here, or are we going to respect actually this monthly supply and start heading lower, okay? What we can see also is that this right here was our last demands that we reacted from, but we failed to follow through. All right, and this immediately suggests, and that after printing this bearish month, it really suggests that possibly the buyers were not enough from here and we're about to push down, okay? And then if you also have a look on the weekly, so again, we tapped inside. I remember this very clearly because I was really excited. We kind of shifted structure, we retested higher low, higher high, and then I was calling long, guys. Long, I remember, but as you can see, the market just flushed to the downside. And of course, we never know what's gonna happen. We just adapt to the market. And right now we have a broken structure to the downside, okay, which is a lower low. So pretty much, again, well, I am bearish on this pair, okay? Coming again from this monthly supply, this one failing to hold. It tried to hold but failed, and right now we're deep inside it. So I do think it is actually gonna get taken out. Okay, so this is potentially a target for AU. It's a liquidity target right now. So the next question is, where do we strike from? Well, let's drop our range from the high to the low. 50% is, oh man, it just kissed. Okay, just kissed 50%. Do we have something inside? Yes, we do. We have this little bullish candle that can act as a drop-based drop kind of a supply. And what we can see right there is, I was also mentioning this to my community, we had a structure break with this big bearish engulfing candle. We had a beautiful retest and a beautiful short to be taken on the 5th of January. You can see 6th flushed, and right now we're just holding a little bit. So as you can see, the bearish bias, it's starting to build up a little bit, okay? We're currently finding a little bit of support that is coming from this wick potential right here. So let's see how the market is going to develop. As we tapped inside this one, then we're potentially going to be looking to trade from this little zone right here as well. So let's refine this on the 4H. Okay, on the 4H, I'm going to take those 3 bullish candles, a massive flush lower. Right now we are responding from this little level that I just dropped right here. So what I do is I will drop my range from the low to the high, potentially looking to see the market come inside right here and to give me an opportunity for a short. And then potentially, as I told you, we can even target the lows right here. This is a bit too long term again, but just building all the confidences, again, we're coming from a very massive monthly supply. We shifted to the downside. This monthly demand failed to hold. We had this massive leg, weekly leg to the downside. We pulled back into 50% of the weekly leg. We zoom in, we shift the full hourly structure, we retest, we confirm a new lower high right there, and we initiate another push to the downside. So for me, all of those confluences are building a bearish bias. So what I would expect is the market to retest this area and then to potentially see if we can have a sell-off targeting the lows. And then if all the lows start failing, then this one is going to fail as well. Okay, so let's see. Currently intraday, we have a shift of structure. So what you can do is you can drop to a lower time frame. And if at the beginning of the week you have a retest down there, you can take a long. Okay, long into 50% or into this zone. Okay, but overall my analysis is that we're gonna potentially retest this level and flush. So let's see, we never know what's gonna happen, so let's just follow the flow. And checking AJ, let's have a look. Kind of the same. We had a massive pump higher and a massive bearish engulf. That was an inside bar. December took out the lows and strongly imposed into the highs. And right now we're just opening right here in the middle. This one is even trickier than AU. So we had this massive pump into the highs that created this demand, and this demand did it fail. Oh man, this is hard. So yeah, it kind of broke below it by a little bit, but it didn't really fail. Okay. This one is harder than I expected. So we can have as well from the top this supply that we're just tapping inside. And if I refine it to the day, this one looks different than AU. definitely. Wow, what is this big zone right there? Ooh, man, what is happening right there? But yeah, it looks a little bit different. It's more bullish than bearish, while AU is more bearish, all right? And this is mainly due to USD JPY probably, okay? So let's see how this one is gonna go, okay? Daily time frame, nothing too much to extract, and we're tapping into this level right there. The market is overall bullish right here as well. So let's try to see how the 4H is doing, okay? The 4H was rather bullish. So the last area was right here. We tapped inside, we made a higher high, then the last higher low becomes this one. And the last higher low is invalidated right now. It's broken, okay? And we have the same area that we have on AU, this sort of supply. So yeah, overall on the lowest time frames, they do look the same. So we can still expect something like this. But keep in mind, guys, that this one looks a little bit more bullish than bearish. All right, you can see that AU had a very clear shift right there. Overall bearish coming on the left, while AJ, yeah, they're kind of the same, aren't they? Yeah, maybe I'm confused. I'm still warming up, guys. I'm still warming up. Don't judge me. But I just felt at the beginning that AJ looks a little bit more bullish. But I'm gonna stick with the same bias. I'm gonna be bearish on the AJ. But what I would love to see is a little bit more confirmation from this one, because this one made a high, while AU failed to make a high. Okay, so this one is much more better than this one. So on this one, I would approach it like this. I will wait for here, see if it makes a lower high, see if it breaks, and only then I'm gonna start striking, because you're always gonna get opportunities, so don't rush it. Okay, so this is my outlook on the Aussies. Let's carry on to the NZDs. Starting with NZD/USD, so the NZDs are not pairs that I love, and I haven't traded for a very long time, so I actually think of removing NU and NJ from my weekly outlook list. So if I do not receive any response on that in the comments, any objections, I'm definitely gonna go for it, because I feel like I don't trade this. I monitor AU a lot, but NZD/USD and NJ not really, okay? But pretty much this one again looks more bullish right now from the monthly, because we're coming from this very strong demand and we're just tapping inside it right now. So we're just yet to see if this demand is gonna hold, or are we gonna continue pushing to the downside with the overall sell bias that we also have. Because you can see if we zoom out a little bit, we're gonna have this push, pullback, then it took some time to shift right there, then we have another massive push to the downside, but then another massive push to the upside. So again, it just keeps ranging like this. So let's see, currently we are at a very major level, but let's look more in the intraday, because I think intraday could be more bearish as well. So right now we are about to tap into this one, and we pretty much already tapped inside. After this massive leg to the downside that caused the break of structure, we can drop this as our range, right? And we can potentially expect the market to pull back, okay? So is it going to be a pullback and a reversal? We don't know, because again, this is a monthly demand, and what we can do is we just tap inside and then make a new high, okay? But working with the current range, it's this one, okay? But actually, the biggest range is this one, okay? So we pulled back, we tap inside, so right now we should be expecting a new high. So dropping onto the daily, we can already observe a slight bit of bullishness. I really don't like those right here. Very equal, very flat. We can have another manipulation into the lows. So watch out for this one, guys. But pretty much we already created a new demand on the daily. We also shifted the structure right there. We pulled back, and right now we are potentially about to head higher. So this is how it looks like. And dropping onto the 4H, it definitely looks like it. Although it slightly requires a bit more confirmation for me personally, okay? So again, we have the same wick right there. We retest the wick, we break structure, we pull back right here into the lows, into the lowest lows, which was this daily demand that we identified. And right now we're kind of reacting in a bullish manner. But what we have coming inside right there is this bearish leg, all right? So what the market is gonna do, very similar to AU, it's gonna first of all encounter this one right there. So there are a lot of zones, so I'm going to remove one of them, okay? This one, much cleaner. So we're going to encounter this one right now. So what I want to see on NU is a tap inside, a reaction, a failure to make a new lower low, and then a break, okay? And if we break above this level right there, I am going to go bullish, because if we go bullish, then we have big upside potential on this one, okay? So this is how I'm going to leave it. Very simple, monthly zone, weekly zone, tapped inside, extended market to the downside, daily has shifted, 4-hourly has shifted, but we're yet about to actually see if it's gonna hold to the upside. So let's see. And again, where did that go? And again, keep in mind this one, because also we see that AU is very bearish, and usually AU and NU tend to go together. So what I also expect is another run into the lows. So if this happens, then we have to definitely adapt. So let's see and give some time to this one, because again, it's an overall consolidation. Let's be real, right? NJ, I expect it to be different because of USD JPY. Again, tapping into a very extreme zone right here. It tapped inside, it gave a massive reaction to the downside. So nothing too much to extract from here. On the weekly, yeah, we had this one which kind of broke, but we went deeper inside this one. So is it really bearish? This is the question. Both of those look like this. So is it really bearish? Well, we don't know yet, but we can see that it broke this one. But what happens sometimes, what we saw on EJ as well, is that it just tends to go a little bit lower to grab some more liquidity, to grab some more orders, and then it continues to pump into the highs. So let's see if this is the case. On the daily, we can see that this is already making the move into the highs. So it shifted the daily structure. We broke structure right there. We didn't come for a retest. So pretty much the daily zone is this one, and we're currently into the highs. But again, oh man, it's hard. It's hard. Maybe I have lost my form a little bit, so I'm just getting back at it right now. Or is it just the markets that are a little bit tricky right now? Because yeah, we have this sell coming from the top as well. That broke structure, but we still kind of remain inside this this sort of leg, right? And this could just be a liquidity grab for the market to head higher. Okay, we just kissed the 50%, so this could be ready for a drop to the downside. Okay, but you can see on the daily we're coming with this bullish push. Let's analyze the 4H. Well, yeah, the 4H has clearly shifted. Okay, this was a clear push into the highs, shifted the structure down. It created also this sell level, which is pretty similar to all the pairs that we just covered. And what I would expect is a tap inside, a retest, and then potentially to see something like this into this daily zone. Because after this daily zone, we have to reevaluate and see if the market is not actually going to go higher. Okay, so this is how I'm going to approach it. Definitely wait for a lot of confirmation right here, even a new lower low, then a pullback, and then potentially your highest probability short. Okay, so the NZDs, give them some more time and let me know if you want me to keep analyzing them. Let's have a look at UJ, which is quite tricky still. So this pair continues to pump into the highs. So actually in December, we had a very nice engulfing candle that was also an inside bar of the previous one, and we just actually crushed the inside bar right this week. And we started with a massive pump higher and we rejected a little bit. So can we expect another bullish candle this month? Okay, so the market is headed, if I just look on the left, we have those wicks right there that created this push to the downside. But did this push to the downside cause anything? Okay, not really. This market is bullish overall, because if I zoom out a little bit, we come from this big pump into the highs, then the market came inside this range right there, tapped, shifted the structure, which happened right here. Then it kind of very corrective, very chopped right there, tapped inside, shifted the structure again, it continues to climb higher. So I am more bullish than bearish on UJ, but right now the exact positioning of price is not the best. So let's drop to the weekly. Yeah, definitely coming inside these sort of areas, taking out the liquidity above all of that stuff right there. So all of this flat highs right there were taken out right now. Okay, and if I zoom in, well, we pretty much have a new higher high. Okay, it's a wick, so it's not confirmed. Well, yeah, the body closed above the high, so pretty much what this means is that we have a new higher low right there and a new weekly range. Okay, so dropping this on the day, we had a massive sell-off right there, then we had a buy, and we have again a break of structure. So guys, this looks pretty bullish to me, right? And how I'm gonna trade it? Well, I'm gonna be looking for a pullback below 50%, and we have a lot of areas below 50%. Like even the first one even could be this indecision doji. The second one is this big indecision, which is pretty much inside that daily one that we identified. Okay, so in order to keep it simple, I perceive USD JPY to be bullish. Yeah, I do think it's gonna come inside this one, but it could definitely actually take it out. Okay, because again, as we just followed with the weekly price action, this market is overall bullish, and because this high failed to break this low. Okay, so this was a lower low, this should have been a lower high, but we failed to make a new lower high. So this right now becomes a target for price, okay, because it's weak, it did not cause anything. Okay, so eventually we can definitely target this one, but first of all we need some little pullback, and let's see if the market is gonna pull us back into discount. 114 could be a nice handle to trade from. 114.5 is another one, but definitely the lower it goes, the higher the probability. Okay, so UJ overall bullish bias. Let's see if we're gonna have a pullback like this and then to potentially strike it into the highs. All right, let's get started with the GBPs, starting with GU. So this guy is, again, slightly bit tricky to figure out exactly where he wants to go. So let's try to build a little bit of a picture. So we were coming from this big wick on the monthly. So this big wick actually got respected. But again, after a respected supply or demand, you have to see if it's actually gonna cause something, okay? So on the monthly, the actual higher low was right here. So what the market did, it actually tapped inside and failed to continue lower. And pretty much what I can see is that the momentum is more to the upside. We had a massive push into the highs and we had a very nice correction down. And right now what we can actually expect is a continuation higher, okay? So we had this very massive manipulation into the lows. Then the market was still bearish. It reacted from this one, but failed to follow through. Then it pushed into the highs, created this demand. The market pulled back right here. And just right now, we are about to see if it's gonna turn bullish. And in fact, it has been bullish for some time right now. If I drop on the weekly, it is a little bit debatable right here. Why? Because we have this candle right here, okay? But the overall range starts from the high and ends into the low right there. So pretty much we're still, it looks like a push and still in a pullback. But if we perceive this one right here to be structure, it has broken above it. Okay, so that is a little bit of a detail that we have to pay attention to. Okay, but we can see a clear respect of that level. Very nice 3 weeks of bullishness right now. So are we gonna have a little bit of a pullback? Definitely possible. And this is gonna be the catalyst. This is gonna be really the thing that is gonna determine if GU is actually gonna go higher. If we have a pullback and a failure to make a new lower low. Okay, because keep in mind we can still come in a little bit deeper into this very big demand that we have right there. Okay, we can break below this low, we can come inside down there, and possibly then we can reverse. Okay, numerous scenarios are there. So let's have a look after we build up this little narrative. Let's have a look on the daily, and you can see that again it's slightly confusing. The market is overall bearish. Like look at those beautiful lower highs and lower lows. Okay, we tapped inside right there and we started shifting. And as you can see, if we look clearly, again, this is that little candle that I showed you on the week. This is the last kind of daily, major daily pullback. So we have a push, pullback, push, clear pullback, push, and then the market got really messy right there in December. We started impulsing into the highs right now and we have broken above it. But we're yet about to encounter some other supply areas. The first one being this one, and then the second one also being this very major one, okay, which is also kind of a weekly lower high. Okay, so very hard to figure out exactly where is it going. Okay, I hope you understand, like sometimes it's just hard, but if we just focus on, okay, so what is happening right now? Okay, a little tip from me right now, follow the trend until you're wrong. Okay, so the trend is subjective because it can be on the weekly, monthly, daily, 4 hourly, 50 minute, 1 minute. Okay, but it actually corresponds to all of them. But let's focus on the 4H right now. What is the most recent price action doing? Oh man, it's making beautiful higher lows and higher highs. Push, pullback, push, pullback, push, pullback, right? This wick right there took out the lows right here, tapped into this one, higher high, higher low, right now on the way towards making a new higher high. So what is this market doing? It is bullish. Let's try to spot where is the last higher low. Well, it's possibly this wick right there where the market reacted from. What did I tell you about wicks? They tend to react. And right now the market is headed towards making a new higher high. And I do think it's gonna make it because it's just so close to it, okay? And then the biggest thing to see is, are we gonna tap inside this level and initiate bearishness? How are we gonna know, guys? A little question. Simple. The market structure is gonna change. Okay, so if we have a bullish move into the highs right now, then this is gonna become our demand. Oh man, this is gonna become our higher low. Okay, so as long as we remain above this higher low, we are bullish. So the market is gonna come inside, it's maybe gonna react, but then if it fails to make a new high and breaks below this one, good morning, it's a brand new downtrend. Okay, so this is the current situation on GU. Okay, on the highest time frames, yes, we tapped into this level, but is this level really gonna cause a new higher high? We don't know. Okay, is the market really gonna push into the lows and follow the overall bearish trend to come deeper into this zone? We don't know. Okay, very possible, because I also see that the low right there formed in a very flat manner. Okay, and I do think that this can actually get taken out, but currently we are bullish, and as long as we're bullish, we keep longing. Okay, but as I told you, we are encountering some strong areas of supply, so we can expect a trend change, but until the 4-hourly changes, you keep longing, guys. Okay, follow the trend. In fact, if we pull back at first right there, we can take a long, because currently the market is pretty bullish. My community were taking longs from here, which was a beautiful long already into the high. So let's see if we break this structure. Let's see if we have a retest, continuation higher. And again, guys, as long as we remain bullish, we keep bullish. Okay, so this is it. As simple as that. Focus on the now, keep the higher time frame narrative, but when it's not that clear, just focus on what is happening right now, because you do not trade the month. Okay, what you trade as well as intraday, you trade what is happening right now. And if you know what is happening right now, you can even solely trade the 15-minute. It's not advisable, but if you just follow the momentum, if you just follow what the market is doing, you can definitely make some cash. Monthly on GJ. So this one I remember is having this very strong supply that it has been reacting for quite some time. We tapped inside, reacted. We have this big wick right there. We shifted into the highs, and right now, actually, this one has been in a consolidation, guys, for quite some time, to be honest. Since April, we did not move from this consolidation, and this is quite some time. Okay, this is quite some months. Weekly as well, we can clearly see the consolidation. We can see this wick down there, never broken, maybe by a little, right? Yeah, this one faked it by very little. And overall maintaining kind of a bullish bias. So we broke this high, then we returned all the way back inside these wicks right there. We tapped inside them, and then we actually shifted the weekly trend. So this is again because of USD/JPY. UJ was rather bullish, and this one is already on the move. Okay, so what we can expect right now is a new higher high. We also shifted right here because this is a push, pull back, lower high, lower low, shift. Okay, this is a weekly shift. On the day though, it's a little bit extended as well. So yeah, if I remove this one, the new level for me is this one. This is the new daily level. This is where I would love to see it pull back, but is it gonna do it immediately? Well, yeah, we don't know, because we also have this little daily level right here. And if you drop on the 4H, we're just tapping into the highest point right there. And what we can see is that there is a little bit of a trend change. Like we pushed a higher high, we broke, then we pull back. This can result in a little flush, but I'm gonna advise you to wait for a break of this zone. So let's see how it taps right there. Let's see if we can have any longs, and if not, if we have a break, then a retest, and then we can start targeting the lows down there. Okay, so GJ, definitely bullish, definitely more bullish than bearish, but the main question is, are we gonna impulse from here, or are we gonna have a deeper pullback if the market creates this range and pull back below 50%? Okay, it's very close into the highs, so should definitely target the high first before initiating a pullback, but let's see if that's gonna happen. Okay, so monitor this higher low on the daily. Keep in mind that the 4-hourly is showing us some first signs of a potential change if this really holds like this, right? So if you have like something like this right now, a shift, a lower low, we can have a lower high and then a drop. Okay, so this is another situation that we could have. And again, guys, give it some time, be patient, keep in mind that it's overall bullish, and just wait for a clear trend change until you engage. GA, I'm also going to remove this pair from my watch list, just because I keep covering it, but I've never traded this pair, and I do not understand that as I understand the other pairs. Okay, so overall, it's coming from this monthly zone right here, already on the move higher, definitely about to target this high. So this is the month. The week pushed into the highs, pulled back, consolidated, already making a new weekly high. So this is really great news. And right now the question is, how can we jump into the train? The first level that I see is this one. This one is on the day. So for me, a pullback right here will be enough to target the highs. Okay, so this is how I'm approaching this in a very simple manner. This is a beautiful range. Initiation outside of the range as well. We had a little bit of a liquidity grab just before the move into the high. So this is a very high probability area for a long trade. Okay, so drop your range, wait for the pullback to occur, and let's strike for a long. So very simple, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So let's see how this one is going to develop. And another pair that I'm going to keep covering, but I just don't trade, is Euro GBP. Pushing into the lows right now, overall bearish bias. Okay, creating beautiful lower lows and lower highs. I'm going to focus on the intraday side of it. So we broke the last weekly lower low, which creates a new weekly range. There it is. Daily, the first beautiful daily zone that I see above 50% is this one. Right now starting to chop out a little bit, so we can definitely expect a pullback on this one. We had some nice sells, to be honest, on this one. The first sell that I last analyzed was actually this one. Sold off, continuation. So this one, guys, is perfectly bearish right now. So I would advise that you continue following the momentum. The last lower high is this one, the last major one. Why? Because this one made a lower low, and since then we have not made another lower low. Okay, so we retested, but I'm gonna remain bearish until we break above this one, retest and continue higher. Okay, but yes, a break above this one can definitely be an introduction of buyers. So let's see how the year is gonna open with Euro GBP as well. But again, overall bearish, but we have made a new weekly lower low. So usually the market is gonna stop to create a new lower high. So let's see when it's gonna start. You can see that usually after making a lower low, right here it tends to consolidate. Right there it tends to consolidate as well. So right now we're consolidating. So it might take some time before we shift, but definitely we can expect a pullback into the highs and then potentially to carry on with the overall bearish trend. Okay, so those are the GBPs, guys. Again, give them some time to develop, but definitely we're having some idea of where the market could potentially go. So let's see how it's going to develop. All right, let's have a quick look on gold. On the monthly time frame, there is not much to extract. Okay, if I really look at the major structure in the month, I can see this big leg to the upside. Okay, so we can drop the range, of course. The market has already dipped below 50%. Okay, but it's still failing to push higher. And as you can see, since July, right here, we haven't really had a clear move on gold. Like we had the same situation right here, a big consolidation, then a nice sell-off. Right now we have a bigger consolidation. Let's see what the next move is, but it's a bit too hard to determine. Zooming in on the weekly, so we have this lowest low that's never broken, and yeah, then we have this big wick that the market retested, right? So it retested, but then it failed to cause anything. Then we ranged, pushed into the highs, it retested. Man, gold is hard right now, and I would really appreciate your insights as well on gold, guys. So for me, this is the last kind of break. We returned back, and we're currently respecting this kind of overall range right there, which is not entirely clear, but let's drop it like this. Okay, so we tapped inside, reacted from it for a couple of weeks. Right now we started with a seller's intention right here. Overall, shorter term, we're bearish, right? But it's also failing to make any lower lows. So it's really compressed gold right now. So it's also very fundamentally driven with all the things that are happening right now. People doubting on where to put their money on because dollars are stopping to be printed. Interest rates are going to increase, which means that more people are going to put their money into savings rather than gold, for example. So if I just think of the future like this, it looks more bearish than bullish on gold. But yeah, in terms of technical, guys, I'm having difficulties to really understand where is it going. So currently, again, we can see that the buyers are prevailing, but we had this massive pump into the highs and then a massive drop into the lows. So this is pretty much indecision. All right, because we had the same move up and the same move down. The buyers pushed up, the sellers said no. And right now everybody is again negotiating on where to go. Okay, so for me, gold definitely needs some more time, but if we explore what happens right there, I see a massive introduction of buyers right here as well. An overall bullish intentions right there, higher high, higher low. Then we have that last failure to make a new higher high. We also broke structure, and yeah, like shorter term, slightly bit bearish. Okay, but still, guys, we're in the range. So if we have this, maybe a short into this level, and if we have this, maybe a long into the middle again. Okay, so very hard to understand. So I'm personally not trading gold, and I'm not invested in it as well. So until I see some clear signs of something happening or some fundamentals that are really gonna kind of light the bulb, so we can definitely judge what's gonna happen, only then I'm gonna take action. Okay, so let me know what you guys think on gold, but I'm definitely gonna give it some time to develop, to really show some clear intentions, some clear trend, and then potentially we can have a better outlook on it. All right, let's have a look at some indices and cryptos as well. So starting with US30, we just created all-time highs right now, and we can see pretty much the asset inflation that we had, some massive run into the highs during 2021. It was a massive year for our portfolios. So I hope you are invested actually. So since the crash of COVID, we had massive run into the highs, man. Like usually the market is slower in its move to the upside. We had a massive run right there, but 2021 was exceptional as well. So right now as well, as we have interest rates returning, less money is being poured into the economy as well. The tapering process. Some economists say that the stock market is still going to grow, but on a smaller pace, and we can have more pullbacks. Okay. So US30 is actually the index that is doing the best right now. So we broke the high right there. Our major higher low is still this one. Okay. And you can see how nicely we move in a nice uptrend. We had also this big wick. So this big wick also can be retested. So let's have a look what is there. And yes, pretty much if I keep it to the day, there is this one. We had this daily's demand. Then we have this one right now being created. So there it is, break of structure. What I'm going to be looking is for a dip on the US30 and then a potential continuation. Okay, my major high, major low, sorry, still remains this one. So as long as we remain above this one, I'm still in a bullish trend. And then if we dip below, we can expect a deeper correction. Okay, but usually something has to happen in order for an index to start dropping. So let's see how it's gonna go. But overall, pretty bullish. So let's wait for a little dip to the downside and potentially taking it further into the highs. Right now we have on the 4H a little bit of a shift. So if you are a short trader on indices, you can definitely strike on it. NASDAQ is having some difficulties in pushing into the highs. We have a nice run into the highs. Our last higher low is this one. On the week, we have, of course, our range, and the market definitely needs some pullback towards this zone. So hopefully we're actually going to have it right now. A very nice consolidation right here, pretty much doing nothing. The high wasn't taken as well, which is a good thing. Come on, because it signifies the bearishness, and we can expect a further drop, which is again, is going to be 10% drop from the top. And this is definitely a great dip for NASDAQ. Pretty bearish right now, also breaking below demand levels. So definitely looking for sales on this one, to be honest. This level can definitely be targeted right now. It almost got taken. So the first zone that I see for potential sales is this one. And of course, the one just above it. So keep in mind, this is a potential sell area if we pull back immediately. But I do think we can also just continue dropping to the downside, tap inside this level, and then from there, we're going to adapt and see if we're going to have any longs. Okay, so this is NASDAQ, just a very brief outlook as we're just launching into the year. S&P, I just invested actually this week, another bunch. Still maintaining the bullishness, still making new higher highs. So this one still remains my major one, although we have a new major one right here. But of course, if we drop into this one right here, I'm going to go all in, right? All in, man. Because this is 8 to 10% drop on S&P, which is a very huge drop for this index specifically. I bought it from here as well. We have a very nice continuation higher. So this one is already tested. And we have a brand new one as well right now. There it is. I can even remove this one like that. So this is our new one. And pretty much if I drop our range, we just actually tapped into 50%, which is another buying opportunity if you're dollar cost averaging on S&P. But personally, I'm really going to be looking for this level right now. We're having very flat highs. We're in this very nice correction. I bought at a 3 point something percent drop. So I bought it right there, a 3% drop. Dollar cost averaging, and I'm gonna be buying more as we drop right here, which is around 5 to 6% drop as well. So yeah, 5 is gonna be very nice to 4. Okay, so looking for a shorter term drop as well in S&P. We can see that the stocks are starting to go down alongside with crypto because of the Fed as well. So crypto on the weekly, we're still in this leg into the highs. We're tapped inside, reacted, failed to follow through, and we just broke below it. So I'm kind of feeling that we might actually target 39.60. Okay, and this is gonna expose 36 or 35. Okay, so let's see if it's gonna hold. It's definitely worth actually dollar cost averaging on this one, because again, we do believe that crypto is gonna stay for the future. I bought it somewhere right there, I think on this week or somewhere right here. So I'm having some drawdown right now, but again, I made a lot of money on crypto during 2021. So right now I'm just kind of reinvesting all the profits, and still have some staked as well that are achieving some returns. But for me, it's very important to see if the market is gonna stay above this level right there. So we're just staying inside. If we just cross below 39.60, I should say, then this can expose further downside, which is gonna be really nice. But yes, currently inside this demand, which also broke. So let's see how it's gonna go. The 4H is absolutely bearish. So if you're a shorter of crypto, then definitely keep shorting. But yes, for me, I'm gonna give it some time to see how it's gonna develop and if it's gonna hold. And also Ethereum, it's a good place for a buy as well. I bought some at 36, down there, 36, nicely flushing to the downside. So I bought the dip, but the dip keeps dipping. So we again buy the dippity dip. Okay, so right now 78.6% FIP. I still look for a slight bit of a dip. I have my alert set right there. Another buying opportunity. And if you continue to drop lower, then of course this is also going to expose a very much lower level. So pretty much a lower level on Bitcoin, lower level of Ethereum. It's going to be really nice. So let's see how both of those are actually going to hold at those demand areas that we're currently in. Okay. And guys, this is how I'm going to wrap up the weekly outlook and setups. The first one for the year. I really hope you got some value. I do think it's a little bit too long, but this is because it's also include a monthly analysis. So I hope you watched up until now. Make sure you are subscribed because there is a lot of value incoming. Like this video if you did. Make sure to comment in order to secure your heart badge so you can participate in the giveaway initiative. And make sure to check out my private program that is currently being revamped, and potentially the prices might increase or we might turn into a subscription. We might see what 2022 holds for us, but definitely the value inside is insane. Okay, so I wish you an amazing weekend if you're watching this during the weekend, and a crushing week ahead of you, and stay tuned for my analysis on Tuesday on Telegram.